It'd be funny if this is all right. Welcome back to the BFR Podcast presented by Sports Mockery. My name is Dave, cover the Bears for SM. Of course, joining my good friend, co-host Ficky, and of course we have our producer on the sticks, Jack. Sorry for that intro. Like I said, something was bugging out as far as us going live here, but it's been a few days, about 5 days since we've spoken with you guys, talked a little Bears. We have a little bit of news, but this is going to be primarily a Q&A episode. We have about 17 questions you guys sent in. We're going to throw them on the screen and we're going to discuss them. Obviously, hang in the chat, talk with you guys, and then we'll go from there. So that's going to be like the mailbag episode. We always enjoy these because we don't know what we're going to get. And we've seen the questions, but we haven't really thought about how we're going to answer them. So this is going to be fresh, live, and it should be a fun episode. We're also going to start probably the show with recapping the 1920 drive, which is the Bears YouTube channel, official YouTube, where they kind of go behind the scenes, give you some really good footage. It's really good for like free agency and the draft. However, this was a pretty good episode that kind of basically started with the game-winning kick from Santos to beat Green Bay, and then it went into the coaching search, where, of course, they landed Ben Johnson. But one of the most notable parts of this episode was the first conversation that Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson had, and that's where I want to start right now. Actually, before I do that, I'm already skipping ahead here. Ficky, Jack, how are we doing before we hop into this story?
I'll be quick. I almost died this weekend from the flu. Not really, but I felt like absolute shit. So if my voice sounds bad and I'm muting every other second to cough, that is why. So I'm more on the bad side, but slowly. I feel like the Bears, you know what I mean? I just went through a shitty season, but we're on the up and up. So, Jack, how about you? How are you feeling today?
I miss football, man. I miss football big time. But yeah, just been hanging in there, doing our thing, and here we are.
Well, to be fair, I know for the fans out there, Jack and Dave should be feeling really great because they're on their way to Grandmaster. So, hats off for the Marvel Rival fans out there.
Yep,
but
real
I
bad.
was wondering. I was sitting here. I was like, "Is Jack going to mention it?" And he didn't. I was like, I was a little sad. I was like, "We've been grinding really hard here."
I know we're a Bears pod. I didn't know
this is a Bears podcast, but this is kind of a Marvel Rivals podcast for about.
You said it before. Typically. We need to take over the Marvel Rivals podcast game. We are the connoisseur. Yeah. We can start it.
Absolutely. Anyways, almost there to GM. Good friend Jay, best Doctor Strange, of course, is Grandmaster. But let's get to Bears. This episode, of course, is going to be about really the Q&A. But this story here, the first conversation in the 1920 football drive, which you go to their YouTube, you can watch it. It's about 13 minutes. Great behind the scenes look just at the moments leading up to the hiring of Ben Johnson and the events that followed. So as far as the footage, one of the biggest parts of this that I thought was intriguing is that they were not only found out, about Johnson's hiring, or Caleb did, but their initial conversation, typically, which is a lighthearted, when there's a new hiring or you meet your boss or something for the first time, it's pretty much like, what's the word? Help me out here, fellas. Typically,
cordial, it's not that deep.
Easy. Yeah. Easy going. You don't address, hey, this is how we're going to fix the company, or hey, this is how we're going to run things. It's like, hey, this is me, kind of banter. That's typically how it is. This was the complete opposite with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, which is why I really love this. So again, go check out the episode. But Williams revealed that they got straight to football, immediately discussing what would and would not work in the Bears offense. Caleb's went on and said, our first time speaking, we addressed things that won't work, that doesn't work. Essentially taking a look back at last year with Shane Waldron and then Thomas Brown, the interim head coach, who was, of course, the OC as well at the time during the season. But they already kind of in the weeds here, talking about what they're going to do. And one of my favorite parts as well was when Ben Johnson was talking about Caleb Williams was, hey, this is going to be 100% catered to Caleb Williams. And I know we've kind of heard about, hey, we're going to cater to our players, but I like that Ben Johnson obviously specifically named Caleb, and that this is going to be 100% about him, what he's comfortable with, and that's how it's going to go through him. And so I love the detail from Ben, but I also love that these two are already kind of, two brilliant minds going, and getting started. I know it's February, right? It's January when they first spoke. I just love that. I wanted to touch base on you guys. I know you watched the episode. overall thoughts on that, and of course the full episode. I'm gonna start with Ficky, and then we'll go to Jack.
Full episode, fantastic. I mean, like the production team does a good job. It's our mini Hard Knocks, so like I always love seeing it, whatever it is, because you get a peek behind the curtains, and that's always fantastic. When it comes to the Caleb and Ben Johnson portion, I do agree with you on like it's good to be like, all right, let's rip the Band-Aid off, let's get to work type of mindset, right? I think in the article on Sports Mockery, which you all should check out, it talks about how Caleb wants to be coached, right? And you see that with a lot of the great, not saying Caleb's a great yet, but when you look at a lot of the greats in the sports, you know, LeBron James, a Michael Jordan, or even like Tom Brady, you know, Patrick Mahomes, they want that hard coach to get in them, you know, in their ear and tell them, you know, this is what we're going to do. This is not what we're going to do. What's working, what's not, because there's only one way to get better. And that's learn from your failures. Right. And the reports came out that we really didn't have that sort of accountability with Matt Eberflus and the previous staff. So that's good to see. It is kind of funny though, how you brought up, talk about what's going to work and what's going to work. I mean, what didn't work and what's going to work. And like in my head, I'm thinking of that conversation. And is it like, what's not going to work? Literally everything we did in 2024, right? And what's going to work is like everything that we didn't try. Because like from a holistic standpoint, obviously there's a couple plays that worked here and there. Obviously, it's not like every play was wrong. We won games in certain situations. But holistically, looking at this offense, there wasn't one aspect of it where you walked away and you're like, oh, you know what? That worked well. And I say that because even with the Justin Fields era, that was a little bit different. Right? You'd be like, well, look, they got the run game down. The run game looks well. Their designated QB runs works well too. But this offense is like some games were complete. Well, first of all, we had 2 offensive coordinators, 2 head coaches. The games week by week seem like 2 differently scripted offenses, right? And what Ben Johnson's talked about, which I think is important, is like, we're going to build the foundation of this offense where a lot of the things look the same, right? And not to take this to Madden, but like in Madden, you have like a couple formations that you ran and you can do a lot from that to keep the defense on their toes. That's what you want to do in these situations. You want to have an identity, right? And I feel like the Bears did not have that last year. So I'm excited to actually see what Ben Johnson, you know, how that we won't know by like week 1, obviously. We'll probably know more towards the back half of the season. But I'm kind of excited to see like week 12. Can we pinpoint 1 or 2 things about this offense where we go, okay, that's Chicago Bears football?
I love all that. I'm going to keep it short on my end. Jack, I'm going to go ahead and ask you the same question here. How are you feeling about the conversations between Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and then, of course, the overall episode of our mini Hard Knocks? And I think that's why I'm okay with not having Hard Knocks again, because this social team is really putting in the work as far as dropping these occasionally every month and a half or so.
Yeah, the conversations definitely, it was really interesting to read about. Definitely like a different style. I don't know if that's just like Ben's way of like trying to, because again, we have a guy that obviously has like credibility in the NFL, but he doesn't have the head coach. And so defining the leader of men, you have to like kind of start by the way you interact with your players. And like we very evidently knew through Hard Knocks that Matt Eberflus was very much like a social guy, like the nicknames, talking like he's their friend. I think Ben was trying to differentiate friend versus coach or something like that. The episode itself, I thought it was really, really interesting. What I found most interesting was, where the hell is George? I was surprised to see Kevin, and then obviously Ryan was there, and no George in the building for a new head coach, especially because again, I don't think this is in vain, but like presuming that Virginia wasn't doing well at this time, because this was weeks before she passed. It makes me interested to know if that's an intention to sell. I don't know. Again, I could just totally be overreading just because it is a conversation to have, but it was interesting to me that he was not there for such a monumental day as in a new head coach. Like head coach, GM, you'd expect the chairman and CEO to be there.
I thought they were there. Am I crazy?
I'm going to be honest.
I can't remember. I know for sure Kevin was.
Yeah, Kevin was for sure. I can't remember.
George wasn't there?
He could have been. And maybe I'm forgetting. I thought I remembered taking a mental note during it of like, I don't know where he is.
I know someone in the comments. Can someone go and confirm if they saw George?
We got Tanner here saying that George was there.
I'm almost positive because I remember seeing some photos of them on the side. And there's so many people there. So I would be shocked.
Maybe they didn't give him the headlight or not the headlight. The content.
Kind of spotlight. Yeah,
spotlight.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And good
fine.
on
I think
George.
they're
He's
also
kind of been. Oh, go ahead, Vic.
No, I was going to
in
say the
same
exact
boat.
same. Yeah,
Oh.
we're going to say the exact same thing. I was going to say, I think they're trying to take ownership like out of like the face of it. And I think that's good because George is also, they've kind of like taken a step back, right? Internally, that may not be the case, but when it comes from like a fan facing perspective or PR, it's less of ownership in front of our face, especially when Ted Phillips left. The Hallis family and George and all that, right? So unless it's the social work, because they always do great with that or with diversity and things of that nature, like go ahead and put them forefront because they should be the leaders of that, especially in the NFL. But other than that, it's like it's okay. We don't need to see George. We've seen George plenty of times. We all know what George looks like, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, I highly suggest you check out the episode if you haven't. I think it was dropped about 5-6 days ago. But that was kind of the only. I guess interesting. There's a lot of interesting, but there was stuff we already knew outside of the conversation between Caleb and Ben and whatnot. So check it out. We loved it. Of course, I have a couple articles on there about it on Sports Mockery you can read about. But other than that, we're going to get to our Q&A. I want to start it off, though, with this one from 3 Psych. If you can bring that up, because I actually like this combo. It's not serious, but it's basically if Keenan does not come back, should Caleb wear number 13? Very good.
Oh, here. Okay. Got you.
Yeah. I just saw it on here. I was like, this is a fun one. So we'll add a bonus question. If you guys do have any questions you want us to answer for this Q&A episode, we're going to go ahead and try to get to it. Of course, we're going to get to the first 17 that they submitted on our Twitter, BFR_pod. That's the goal. We're going to try and get through them. Every podcast or every Q&A episode, I feel like we fail at that, but we're going to do our best here, even if we have to go a little bit over. But obviously, if you have questions, Jack's going to go ahead and bookmark them, and we'll get to them. So, Ficky, I want to start with this. I absolutely want to see him wear 13. Simple as that. If Keenan's gone, I say hand it to him. How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with it. Here's the thing. If he does that, he has to pay back all the jersey sales of last year to the NFL. That's the new rule now. You're allowed to switch numbers, but you have to pay back only 1 year, which isn't bad. And just thank God he got a 21 million signing bonus. So I think he can afford a penny or two. So I would not be obliged to it. Like, I'm okay with it. That'd be dope. And maybe that'll be like a start of like something new, you know? It's not a first time. We've seen a lot of great players do it.
I'm still not 100% sold. Like all year when I saw Caleb in 18, I was just like, it doesn't feel like him 100%. You know, like when I saw him with 13, it just felt like Caleb Williams. And 18, it was almost like, I don't know. I never was sold. I know some people love it. You know, Peyton Manning, all those things. Jack, am I crazy here? How do you feel?
First thought, I was like, I wouldn't, just because of what Ficky brought up in terms of like everyone already spent it. And like, obviously there's a lot of Chicago Bears fans that have the 18.
But then it's vintage.
And
vintage
right. And then I
rookie.
thought of like when Jordan wore 45, I can't imagine that everyone that had 23 was like, what the hell is this? Like my jersey, like is kind of like a fraud or like an old vintage jersey. I don't think so. And obviously it's a little bit different with a rookie year versus a guy who played 8 years at that point. But overall, I would say I don't care at all. If he loves 13 and wants to switch to 13, go ahead. If he stays 18, I'm happy for the people that bought the jerseys. If I bought an 18 and then he switched to 13, I'd be pissed.
Fun fact, I have jerseys of both. So whatever he rocks with, I'll just pull the other.
I forgot you did that. That was a crazy move. That is such a crazy move.
So you're set.
Yeah, so I'm good. So whatever he wants to rock with. As long as it's not a new number, it's got to be one of those.
Yeah, like
leagues.
one.
Yeah, he just changed it completely.
Yeah.
And I understand he was number 18 in high school. It just doesn't. I don't know. 18 feels like old school, like Peyton Manning, those type of quarterbacks. I don't know. Who else is 18?
I think why it's weird is because that's the largest number for a quarterback. There's no 19.
Yeah.
You don't see any quarterbacks
So you're
that
at
are
the
19.
top, yeah.
So you're
Peyton Manning,
number
Kirk
one.
Cousins were the two.
Yep.
That came out.
18 is it. So it's different because it's at the very top, right?
Is Cousins 18?
On the Falcons he is. Was he in the Minnesota?
Yeah.
He was 8, right? Was he 8 or was he 8 in the Falcons? I can't even remember now.
There's no way he was 18 in Minnesota, was he?
He was 8 in Minnesota, right?
He was 8, correct.
Yeah, 8
Okay.
in Minnesota.
All right.
I think he's 18 on the Falcons. because Kyle Pitts is 8 on the Falcons. So when he went to the Falcons, he took 18.
Draft that guy really first round this year.
Yeah,
this
for sure. By the way. No.
This is the year.
Year 5. But I think 18 has really just been Peyton that you like remember. You know what I mean? And then the next number that's that high that's ever been good is 17, and that's literally Bills Mafia, Josh Allen. Josh Allen 17, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And then 16, I don't even is there a 16 that's been that you think of? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's not many high numbers.
That's also a really good comment here about, because I've noticed that too, when his jersey folds a little bit, or it's a little wrinkly, or it's a different angle, it does look like number 10 Trubisky. And depending on how you feel on all the Trubisky era, that may make you, like you said, stick. But anyways, good question. Oh, wow. $10 super chat here from Tito. Ficky, you want to take this?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tito, for the $10 super chat on YouTube. Said, let's just pray that Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson experience works out. Gonna have to contain my excitement, thinking we should just trade 2 firsts and a second for Parsons. No one in this draft or next draft will be as good as him. So a couple things here. I agree. I think we all agree the CWBJ experience has to work out, or we're all going to pluck out our hair or turn gray quickly. And I think we all contain our excitement because we've seen enough Bears football to know that we can't just
I'll probably go bald.
Except for Jack. Yeah, for sure.
I don't get gray. I'm skipping gray.
Straight bald. And then trade 2 firsts and a second for don't know if our team is in position to take that risk, though. Like, the value makes sense, but for our team, I don't know. I'd like the Bills or something like that. Absolutely. Right. A team that's close but hasn't crossed the threshold. The Bears, like, we only won 4 or 5 games, right? So no.
The thing with Micah Parsons, and if you're cool if I go with this one, Jack, real quick. But first of all, thank you, Tito, for the $10. Totally appreciate it. Michael Parsons, we have the draft capital, we have the cap space, but that would take a lot. He is 25 years old. So, I mean, it's not even like Khalil Mack, because Mack was 28.
27.
Right?
28, yeah.
27. You're going to have to pay him, absolutely. But since he entered the league in 2021, he had 13 sacks his rookie year, 13 and a half the next, followed by 14 sacks. And last year, which was a down year, had 12 sacks. And I mean, down year is weird because Dallas is pretty garbage for the most part, just had a really unfortunate season for them. So you get Micah Parsons, giving up 2 firsts and a second would hurt, because you're also paying him as well. So it's just like, that's huge. And it's a big risk, especially with the offensive line. But that's a move I would be like, it would be hard to like, I would be excited, but there would be doubts, if that makes sense. Super, super excited because it could really jumpstart that defense. At the same time, you get that flashback of the Mac trade, but that's more so because we didn't have a quarterback, right? We did not have a quarterback, but right now we don't have an offensive line. So it's pick your poison. I
was gonna say yes, if you can promise me that we can get Trey Smith or a very high caliber offensive lineman in free agency. Like, you have to confirm that there's enough money that we can still go after our top guy.
They could backload either contract.
They could, for sure. I would need that, so I feel more comfortable
the problem is you're pushing that money down the road, and that bill is going to come to pay. But like the Eagles, the Eagles are wizards with the cap, so it can be done.
And drafting as well. They do a great job with that. So
yeah, that's probably
speaking of that. I don't know if you guys saw this, and we can touch this real quick when we get to the questions. But there was some data polled. I can't remember. I think it was by Pick'em NFL about top draft classes for the first round and second round, like hit rate, right? And their definition of hit rate is amount of starters on the same team they're drafted by. So it's looking at players drafted in the first and second round and how many of those have started or currently start on the team drafted by them. Number 2 was the Eagles at 90%. I think people would say that tracks out. You got people like Jalen Carter, which we talked about last episode, Cooper DeJean. You got Devontae Smith. Like, they just draft really well. Yeah. Who was first?
Eagles were first.
Fair video, so I won't cheat.
Philly's not first. They were what? Second? Who was first?
Philly's at 90%. First is 91%
of hit rate, right?
Yep. First 2 rounds, past 5 years. Any idea?
I
don't think you're gonna get it.
Let me. Yeah, just I don't want to waste too much.
No, it's fine. It's Chris M.
Air
has it.
here.
It's us. It's us.
The Bears hit
The-
rate.
Yep. First 2 rounds as starters.
Now I
to
didn't think that.
To preface though, when you are not good,
And that has
have a lot
pace
of
in there
roster-
too, though, right?
5 years, so that'd be Jalen Johnson.
2 years
and
of
at least
yeah.
you get-
So okay,
So you got Jalen Johnson, Cole Kmet, you got Brisker, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, even
Roshan.
Javon Dexter.
or Roshan? No, he was
Roshan was 4, I think, right?
yeah 4.
But yeah, you've got a decent amount in there. But another thing you have to think about is that when you're a
Kevin
bad
Jenkins?
team, yeah, you'd count too. Yep,
If we-
that'd be 5 years ago. Yep, 5 years ago. That'd be the start. But look, when you're a bad team, your rookies play right away. So it doesn't. It's funny because if you look at the data, it doesn't correlate in any way where you're like, oh, all the good teams are at the top and all the bad. Like the only good team at the top was the Eagles, and then you look at like the bottom 10, and like 8 of them were playoff teams. So I just thought it was
crazy,
right? Because I was
Eagles
like,
are
oh,
crazy.
the Bears are number 1. What the fuck? Because that makes no sense at all.
Jack. Before we go on to our actual questions, I wanted your quick. Did you ever touch base on Micah? Would you be all for that? That Tito kind of brought up.
Yeah, I'd be all in. I just think like if you add Micah on the other side of Montez, like you have Micah, Montez, Jervon, and then like I would love to hit a tackle in the draft. Or not the draft, in free agency or like to draft somebody. Then
My
you
thing
have,
is
like Jalen, Tremaine, Brisker, Byard, Reek. Like you have all these guys, man, and adding Micah there. Oh fuck! Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm getting riled up thinking about it right now.
the thing is you're gonna have to bring back Braxton Jones probably even try to get somebody like Tevin Jenkins.
Cheap.
Not Tevin Jenkins, but somebody else on the market. But yeah, I think I'd be all for it too. I really would.
Oh, if it
25
happens,
years old,
let's be
man.
real. We're gonna go on a pod and I'll be excited as hell.
And if we
we're
could
gonna
do it
break
like in a
news.
Luka-esque trade where it's like, oh, they only gave up 1 first rounder.
There's only one Mavs. Sorry,
That would be nuts.
only one Mavs out there. Yeah, I wish.
Hey, right? Before.
Hey, come on, Jerry. Come on, Jerry.
Right. I mean, that's
All right.
true. It's another Dallas team. So who knows at this point?
Exactly. It's in the water.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, let's go ahead and get to our first question of our Bears Q&A mailbag. We do these typically in the offseason. We try to hit like once a month if we can. So again, you guys sent in these questions. Go ahead and follow BFR_pod on all socials. That's where you can kind of submit the questions. Primarily going to be on Twitter. And like I said, we appreciate the ones that sent in today. Got so many. Again, we're going to hit these 17. And then the best one, I almost forgot to mention this. At the end of this episode, Jack, Ficky, you guys are going to figure out what was the best, most creative, either funny, overall question. I'm going to Venmo someone $5 who entered. So it's not much, but $5.
I want to.
It is $5 for cent. You
do it
should
right
have.
now.
I told you
I'll do
to.
it right
You
now.
ignored that text. Okay. Let's get to it.
Let's do it. All right. The first one here from Colton Pearson on Twitter says, how much salary cap do you think or you would be comfortable with pushing into the later years to be aggressive in free agency this year? So in essence, how all in do you want to go? I think we have enough this year. We're like 3rd in the NFL with like how much? Like 85 million or something like that. So I want to
I think we're top 5. I think we're 5th in cap space.
5th? Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we have to like be in that situation because I think we're gonna have plenty enough to get some of the top guys.
Unless they do a Micah Micah Parsons type deal where you're bringing in, signing him to a
huge extension.
Not a record setting, but it could be potentially really high. Obviously, even more than Montez Sweat. And then maybe you push, some of that money down in that, in year 20. The first year that cap hits a lot smaller. Like I said, in my opinion nowadays, for that question, for like the cap, there's so many smart people, so many wizards that can just get around certain things. Like obviously, I think Joe Burrow right now is talking about it with, him trying to keep some of his offensive weapons like T. Higgins, keeping them all together. And so for me, you can, signing bonus, those type of things, You can restructure it. There's just so many ways nowadays where it's like, as long as you have smart people in the building, which I believe Chicago does, and even in that's what happened kind of with Ryan Pace, is he didn't do it correctly. Their team was it just wasn't great. And that's why Ryan Poles, when he came in here first 2 years, he's trying to clean up everything. They have a lot of dead money because they're cutting players, bad contracts. And so for me, if they do it correctly, similar to like what the Eagles have done, where you kind of hit on some of the younger players in the draft, but then of course just strategically sign veteran players that make an impact. And of course, financially, the people behind just have to do a great job of making it all come together, and where you don't get bottled up, in a year or two. So for me, I'm fine with it as long as the smart people in that building are smart about it. So, Jack.
Yeah, spot on.
Does that make sense?
It up. We're 5th in cap with $64 million. This is Micah's 5th-year option year. So this is a $24 million year for the Cowboys for Micah. So that cuts us in a little more than a third of our available cap for one guy. Yeah, if that were to happen, I'd say we hold back. Let's hit the draft. Free agency's kind of moot. And we know that. Like Trey Smith even is like, we're kind of pushing it because that's a lot of money for just individuals. If we don't get Micah, which I doubt we will, all in. I would go all in. This is such a vital year. We talked a lot about this last episode. It's such an important year, and the Bears need to go all in. Yeah, I'm not saying we need to spend $64 million on the nose. I'm saying I would love, like, if that we can get that 50 range and get some real stars. So yeah, overall, I think I'm not afraid of spending money.
Yeah. Well, I think the goal of this year is to make the playoffs. And so if you're going to make the playoffs, make some noise. And to do that, you got to have good players. You got to have great players. And so Micah Parsons is a great player. And the Bears are going to bring in great players this offseason, And so I would love for that impact to be year one. Of course, the draft, you're probably going to get good players, especially early on with their first second-round pick or 2 second-rounders if they keep them. So I'm all about it.
Just a heads up that not only are we 5th this year in cap space, based off of contracts we currently have, obviously not taking in all the rookie deals and things of that nature, we are then 10th in 2026, and then 2027 we are 18th. So we are flexible. We're in a good position, not only this year, but the fall, at least next year, like the 2027, you're kind of middle of the pack. And obviously a lot of things can change that, trades, acquisitions, what the deals are in free agency that impact those following years. But I say all up to be like, there is flexibility here. So I feel comfortable. If that's what we have to do, then I'm good with it.
Absolutely.
But great question. Let's check out the next one here. From our friends at Sports Mockery. I think you guys have heard of them. If you haven't, make sure to go check them out. He said over under 10 wins next season. I'll be quick. It's over under. I would say 10 wins. 5 wins. Realistically, the biggest jump in NFL history, I think, is 9 wins. That puts us at 14. So, yeah, it's doable. I'll say over.
I'll let you go, Jack, first. I want to hear. I'm curious what you think here.
You have a guess?
I do.
I'm thinking 12 for you or 11, honestly.
13 is where I was at. 13 is my number. I fucking love this team. Love Ben Johnson. 13 wins.
And that's best case scenario, right?
For sure.
I can't imagine.
13
would be nuts. That would be
nuts. Yeah. Honestly, I think 10 is like spot on. I think there's going to be some growing pains with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, and just there's going to be still some new players coming in at some vital positions, especially in the offensive line. So I think maybe a little uneasiness there to start the year, but then they finally start kind of figuring it all out chemistry wise. So for me, I think 10 wins get you into the playoffs, and that's what you want. And that division is still going to be a fucking gauntlet. Like I'm almost certain of that. So I would love to get to where you're at, Jack. 13 would be cloud 9.
I said 12 last year.
Oh, you did.
That's what I said. So
the record is by the Colts in 1998. They went 3-13. I think that was Peyton Manning's first year,
rookie year, where he had led the league in interceptions.
Yep, and then their second year they went 13-3. That's when they also acquired Edgerrin James, who was a GOAT running back then. But so if you want to say best case scenario, 15 wins. I don't think that's happening, but like it's possible. It's been done before.
I would be so toxic if we won 15 games. I would be the worst person you could follow on Twitter. The worst.
I'm all here for it. But great question there. Dave, what about you? What'd you set it as? Sorry.
Yeah, 10. I'm going 10. So I'm going, what is that? It's over under, right?
You can't do.
So I'd have to go under.
So
I'd go under. Yeah. I just.
Funny thing, I would pick 10. That number was tough.
I feel like 10 is, but I think 9 or 10 gets you in either way. 9 is, I think you're going to pray for a couple things in week 17 or whatever. So
like a Hail Mary or something.
God, don't even do that, man. Don't even do that. But yes, hopefully not a Hail Mary. Maybe just a win, win and you're in type thing. So yeah, good question though.
Yeah, great one. Let's go to the next one here. Kevin James Kelly on Twitter. I wish your name was Kevin James because that's dope. Well, I think it is, but just Kevin James would be fire. Do you think Poles has learned from his past mistakes in the draft, and can he turn things around? Well, as we just talked about in the data, he kind of hits in the first 2 rounds. At least
I think the biggest thing is
caliber.
Sorry, Fick.
No, go
third round here.
Horrible.
No, but this is where he needs to turn it around. Third round, because those are some important picks where you can find some good players, right? So find Darnell Mooney in the 5th. For the 3rd, it's like borderline, depending on if it's an injury, players can slip out of the 2nd, right? They could be high seconds and slip to the 3rd. And the Bears have a pretty high 3rd round pick. So, if I'm not mistaken, it's like top 10, right? It's their own pick.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, you got to hit on those. And then I also, in all honesty, I love Torrey Taylor. This year, you can't do it. You cannot go for a guy like you're obviously not going to replace Santos. You got your punter last year. For me, this year, it is focused heavily on the trenches in those first 5 rounds. Because I know his first year when he took over in Chicago, he did bring in a lot of offensive linemen through the draft. He, wheeled and dealed and added like 3 or 4 picks, right, in day 3. But all of those were like 6th, 7th rounders. And they haven't really done much, right? And then another thing here is what I want to see. What was the question? Am I going on a tangent here? Or am I still in line with him?
No, you're in line.
Picks? Okay. Line. Another thing, last year, who did we start because of injury? He's from Yale, the left tackle.
Karan
Amagaji, yes. For me, the biggest thing I want to see from Poles is, and he may miss on these two, but go for the big dog, like the big blue, the blue bloods, Alabama, like the pedigree. You do not go small school. I really don't want to see it this year. I want to see them just go for some big schools where you just know where they're playing high level competition. And they may miss on those, but for me, it's like I just don't trust Poles right now to go find somebody from Yale or something like that. I don't feel that way. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think this year is so important because of, you talked about it just a second ago, Jack, about the rookie contract with Caleb. It is so important to hit on these positions because every position is going to fuel his development, and it's either going to slow it or, high kick in a year, like how Ben Johnson, his arrival should do the same thing for, as far as accelerating that, the growth for Caleb. But for me, it's like, go with, the Alabamas, Clemsons of the world, Ohio State, and just get some dogs in here that just, can play top competition, and that floor is higher and not go on just based on projections, I guess. Right. And nothing against Karan Amagaji. It's just like last year, what was he, a 3rd round pick?
He was a 3rd.
Dude.
But then on the other side, though, you have someone like Braxton Jones who went to D school, and but that was a later pick. That was what was he, a 4th? Yeah. Like top. I get what you're saying. Like,
where did Valens come from?
Tennessee.
USC
kind of, and Tennessee.
Yeah,
he was a little older. USC.
I don't know. I just went like.
Huh? What'd you say?
What did you say?
Valens was the previous season, I believe.
Oh yeah, Caleb wasn't there. No, he was at USC first, and then he transferred to Tennessee.
Or no, I'm sorry. Anyways, for Ryan Poles drafting, it wasn't Valens the year before he joined Chicago.
No, that was his first. No. That was his first draft.
He wanted to get Fields some weapons.
Yeah, that was his first one.
You tried, Jack. That was cute.
It was a question. It's a podcast of questions.
No, trying to check me. You almost had me for a second. I was like, am I wrong here? No, I just remember because I remember because it was like Fields needed weapons, and you're like, oh, Velus Jones, 4-3 guy. Okay, burner. Oh, he's 25 years old. All right.
I thought 4-3 was his age. My bad. I didn't know we were talking about speed.
43. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, how do you guys feel about that? Are you okay? Like you already brought up a valid point with Braxton Jones. Pretty decent starter.
It's so hard because the draft is just such like what I agree with you on is third round you had to be way more successful on. There's no question about that. You have got to be more successful.
The hit rate's got to be up there
for sure. Because as we've talked about, you've done at least well enough in your first 2 rounds, which are the most important. So hats off there. But the third round is also pretty important, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, those are more crapshoots. Like if you were to look at the numbers, the likelihood you're going to find like a starting caliber player, especially 5, 6, 7. At that point, who cares? I don't care who you're pulling at that point. Your odds are about as good as everybody else's. So the first three though, that's where championship teams are built. If you can start to hit on the first 3 to 4 rounds and find quality people in there, you'll look how quick the Lions turned around is because they've really hit on, out of their first 4 picks, typically they hit on 3 out of 4 of them. You consistently do that year after year after year. You got yourself like 12 players, like solid starters. So I agree with you on that. And we'll wait and see though.
I want to prep our guy Phil here talking about like you can find some diamonds, some gems in those smaller schools. I'm just nervous about Poles and his evaluation, especially with the offensive line. I'm a little worrisome about him finding the right guys, right? So for me, it's like how can we eliminate as much chance and probability of like failure? And I just feel like going for a guy that, like, I'm going to keep using Alabama, like that type of bloodline. It's like, of course you could find some flops. It's just like, I think the floor is better, if that makes sense. So
probably better when he gets better.
I want to bring up real quick our guy Isaiah Ott here, lethal. Want him to play Marvel Rivals with. Big fan of the pod, fellas. So I want to show him some love before we move on to our next question. So
appreciate it. Thank you.
These are some good ones, man. Like off-season heaters here. So again, you guys have to pick your favorite question and agree on it.
We've only gone through 2 at this point, so the odds are 50-50 at this point. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We still got so many. All right, let's go to this next one. I do love these questions though. Yeah. Okay, we got Nash. Start there. Do you think Ben Johnson's going to have just as much say as Ryan Poles on draft day? I would hope Ben Johnson told Poles and Warren during the interview, if you want to succeed, you need to let me build this thing. It's a great question. I'll start here. I think it's going to be a collaboration because I think there's typically a collaboration of some sort. The question is it the percentage of the collaboration, right? Is it Ryan Poles making the final call, or is it start off with Ben Johnson saying, hey, this is the type of player I'm looking for, specifically on offense, and then Poles with the scouting department goes, oh, based off the parameters that you've given us, these 10 guys fall in there. And then also when it comes to actual draft day and when players are falling, right, is Ben Johnson like, hey, look, we can get him now. Does that do an influence? So that's a really good question. I don't know if we will ever know unless Ryan comes out and says, like, leaves a tidbit, kind of like how he does with Ian Cunningham and things of that nature, or we get like a 1920 Drive episode, draft day, where you see like some of the inside the war room, which I don't think they'll do because we only got that because of Hard Knocks. But long-winded answer to be like, I'm not exactly sure how much, but to say he won't, he's definitely gonna have some influence.
I'll keep this one short as well before we go to Jack. Absolutely. I think there is going to be, I think Poles even did a great job with Flus where you saw those war room, inside looks, right? Or from the 1920 drives last year. I think they're all just professionals and they just work really well together. Now that the outcome might not be good, right? There might be some misses, but it's like, I feel like they're all really good at sharing their opinions, talking it through and just being able to come to one conclusion together and being open-minded. So I don't think that's going to be an issue with Poles and really anybody in the room, including Ben Williams. So Jack, how do you feel?
Yeah, same boat. anywhere you work, the boss isn't going to hire people that he doesn't think he can work with. And so it's the same thing for Ben. They're not going to let Ben they're pick for him and then just be like, you go coach these guys. And he has no connection or doesn't want to coach them. So absolutely.
Good, Jack.
Jack, you haven't met my bosses then. But no, just kidding.
Let's
let's pull them on live right now. Special guest. All right, great question, Nash. Let's go to the next one here. Okay, this is High Life Wags or Jake Wags,
Good
1995. Says, is Swift paid too much to be used as a kick returner or punt returner?
So if I can start.
Yeah, please.
His value is too much. Like, he is paid a decent amount, but it's like his value on the roster as a running back, depending on what we move, we could draft somebody, but for me, it's like he goes down, the electric type runs, and shout out to him. I know he had a pretty decent year, like some really big runs, like some crazy stuff.
Screens too.
The hurdle, screens. Exactly. So for me, yes, he is too paid much. He has too much value unless they draft somebody. But of course, if they draft somebody that's similar to Swift, he's probably going to be the kick returner. Like, let's be honest here. He's cheaper, in my opinion. That's how I feel like it's going to go. So, but also I think they're going to probably sign a burner for that, take him over the top. Cause I don't know if Tyler Scott's going to be here. So maybe that guy, whoever it is, could be like Marquise Brown or whatever, whoever it is. I think they're going to find somebody maybe in that wide receiver room. So that's my 2 cents there.
The real question before you go, Jack, I think this might be a more interesting one. And I don't know if it's already in here, but is he going to be on the team? Because if we look at the history of DeAndre Swift, Ben Johnson was in, obviously, the Lions. When he became the offensive coordinator, he saw that DeAndre Swift did not fit what he was trying to run. And so they traded him away to the Eagles. So the question is, will he be on the team? And that's for you, Jack. Do you think the Bears will trade away DeAndre Swift because it does not fit what Ben Johnson's trying to build here?
Number one, I have never in my life been more confused than reading this question. I feel like I missed something. Kick return, what are we talking about?
Just like being able to utilize him as a kick returner. Because last year, I don't think we had enough back there, like as far as like firepower. So I think he's like, hey, maybe we can keep Swift back there as well. But he's like, is he paid too much to also have that duty where he could potentially get hurt, right?
I would be sick. I would be sick if I saw it. If DeAndre Swift wasn't starting, right? Would he still be a running back in this theory?
Yeah. You're saying basically they're saying you're paying him so much that he should be used as a returner as well. That's my understanding.
As much as we can. Got it.
For sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be sick. I don't like that. Your second question. The Genty conversation's tough. It's a very tough one. Mm-hmm. It's very, very similar to me to Marvin Harrison in terms of like big name player. We know they're going to be successful and good in the league, but is it the right move for us at that time? And so at that time, obviously Caleb was the right move. Marvin wasn't. So we went with Caleb. It's kind of that same thing in my head where like, obviously you want the superstar, you want the cool guy that was awesome to watch in college, but at the same time, I don't know if it's right for us currently. Dave?
If they don't trade for anybody, and they keep all their picks, and they do go in free agency, you're telling me you don't sign Trey Smith, get a center in free agency, you have your 2 second rounders, you may get another third with Ian Cunningham, who might be heading to Jacksonville. You could sell me on that, and it would be electric. Like, I'll be honest, it would be crazy.
A cool guy to get on your team.
As long as you land like a Trey Smith and another, a veteran center,
you need
something like that.
Yeah,
exactly. For him, so, yeah.
Sorry,
I missed you. What did you say?
Sorry, I was gonna say, it's hard to break off a run when you're getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage. So
yeah, but they have that. If you don't trade your picks away, you can. I think the Bears can afford to, similar to what they did last year with Rome, is, be honest here, draft like a offensive superstar potentially. Rome still has that capability. Gency, interesting, very interesting.
They could trade back and get.
But the Bears, if they don't land like a Trey Smith or just secure the trenches in free agency, it comes before the draft, which is awesome because then you can really look at your needs here. So we'll see, man. I'm a couple weeks away from free agent or from the What is it?
I think
Negotiating
it's like
period?
March. Yeah, it's like March 13th or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're less than a month away from that. So I mean, I really like the draft, but I prefer to really start looking at mocks and taking them more serious once we have those rosters kind of a little bit more filled as far as after free agency, those first few weeks, really. So first, second, third wave. So, all right, next question. That was a good one. I like that one.
That was a good one. Anthony Thompson here. Oh, I saw the initials AB, and that gives me PTSD, but or CTE, one of those. So Anthony Thompson here with bring back Tevin and or Keenan. That's a question, and then focus on free agency on the O line, and then D line in the draft. So basically, he's asking which one we should focus on more in each one of those, and then what do you do about the running back problem? I think we kind of talked about that, but he said draft Judkins or Henderson. I think those are both Ohio State running backs, or run it back with Swift. So I think we talked about a lot of questions. Yeah, a lot of them. Let's digest. You actually want to bring them back up for me, Jack? I forgot literally all three.
Let's just knock these out real quick.
Yeah.
I want to try to get to these.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, first off, bring back Tevin or Keenan. Yes or no? To Tevin, yes or no?
No.
Dave. Keenan, yes or no? Jack?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yes. At a good deal. Did I lose Ficky again?
Yeah, his internet's cutting out.
Oh,
we'll hit the second part of this here.
Okay.
What's
focus on O-line?
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
Nope, I was reading the wrong thing. I'm discombobulated.
Okay. Focus on O-line and free agency, D-line in draft.
D-line and free agency. Dave.
Oh, wait.
All right, we're doing a commercial timeout here. Let's hold on. We're losing Ficky right here. He's all over the place.
If you're hearing us, your internet's cutting in and out. So I'm going to answer. I'm going to. Okay.
My bad. I didn't know I was out. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh, fantastic. So I'm just like the watcher in the background. Okay, fantastic. So that's great. I'm in the background. But basically the question was this. The question was, would you rather focus on the offensive line of free agency and then attack the defensive line in the draft, or do the inverse where you focus the D line in free agency and the offensive line in the draft? Go ahead.
I'll be real quick. Offensive line in free agency and then the draft for D line. However, what I would love is a mix of both, right? One offensive lineman like a Trey Smith and maybe a defensive lineman, or like I said, I'd love to get a center, maybe a subpar, maybe third, like a backup type edge rusher. But it's like, for me, it's like whatever, as far as like, the focus has to be Trey Smith, in my opinion, if he hits it. And then also that Atlanta Falcons center, what's his name? Why does he keep slipping my mind? Dahlman. I think he has to be a priority. So I think offensive line in free agency is crucial. So yeah, Drew Dahlman.
Jack, what about you?
I'm the opposite. I think O-line for draft and then D-line for free agency in this question. But like you just said, Dave, it's got to be a mix. You can't do one or the other. It has to be a mix. So obviously, like there's some awesome tackles that'll be there at 10. But like at the same time, if we pick up some tackles in free, like, it doesn't work like that. But if I had to, for the sake of the question, I would say offense, draft, defense, free agency.
I think you put it there. It just doesn't work like that. Where you
can't go all one way.
Yeah, you can't predict what, even if you have a great offer, the best offer for a player in free agency, they may go elsewhere, right, for winning, or they may not want to work with the Bears, something like that. So it's like really hard to predict, but it has to be a good mix, healthy mix, and we'll go from there. So next.
Cool. By the way, am I back visually or no? Am I still the watcher in the background?
It's a little blurry.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I can see
connection might be bad. It might be an outage
or
something. But anyways, we're still here as a ghost in the air. Okay, we got Trap Vizzy here on Twitter. I do love the Abby there with the Spider-Man. Said, do we think they actually cut Tremon Edmonds to save money? I don't know what his cap hit is. Do any of you guys know?
I'll tell you.
I'm pulling it up.
Okay. I mean, I'll answer while you guys are pulling it up. I just don't. We have too many holes to fill.
Sorry, Jack.
I'll try to beat you.
No, it's all right. Do you have it though? I'll let you go if you want it.
Yeah. So his cap this year is 17 mil.
Okay. And what is it if you on OTC? But what if they trade him before? Like, isn't there like a
June 1,
if you trade him before
June 1.
something? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
What is that? We're not going to cut him, but no, not cut. Trade.
Does that still count towards the June 1 post cut whatever thing? I thought that was only post cut.
Yeah, it might be cut. So it's a $17 million cap hit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's bad, but it is a little bit. Like that's where you can get like a little creative, right? So, 3-4 million signing bonus, and then it's like it would be a 13 million cap hit, something along those lines. It's possible, but I don't think he's going to be cut. I don't think he's going to be traded. I think they still like their linebacker core. You get another edge rusher, they're going to look a lot better. So, and of course inside, that defensive line. So, what about you, Fick? How you feel?
I just feel like we already have a lot of holes on the roster. Why would we want to create another one? You know what I mean? So. So yeah. I'm like, look, he may not be the best linebacker out there, but you trading him is now another position you have to fill, and he's definitely above average. So,
but they need to bring back Jack Sanborn because I think he is technically a restricted free agent, and I think you can sign him for relatively cheap. But what he brings and the nitty gritty, the little things that he does,
durability.
I think he's superb. Like I think he's just a really, really good backup, if not low-end starter right now. So,
well, that's a hometown discount too. He's a Chicago area native.
Yeah,
so
he wants to stay in Chicago, man. Family.
Yep.
So,
cool. Let's go to the next one here.
Oh, we're rolling right now.
Oh yeah, we're going now.
By the way, the delay in the questions there, it is so hard to read. I know no one else can see it. I'm struggling. I'm trying my best.
I know you're good. Okay, so we have Unright Irrelevant Heller. What a name. Okay, so CD Heller on Twitter said, provided best tackles are off the board in round 1, do you think Ben Johnson and team decide to move forward with Braxton Jones at left tackle, thinking his previous coaching staff didn't get the most out of him? So in essence, the question is, if there's someone, let's just say Will Campbell, and you're playing him at tackle, you're drafting him to be a tackle, or someone like Kelvin Banks, you're drafting to be a tackle. Do you go and get a Braxton Jones replacement, or do you view Braxton Jones as good enough and focus on a more important need, which would be like a guard, a center, you wouldn't do a center that high, but like edge. So what are you guys' thoughts? Like, is Braxton Jones good enough that you're like, okay, we don't have to go tackle?
So with Braxton Jones, if they do keep him, I think you have to have really good depth behind him. Like you have to sign someone that is proven, that can start, of course, due to injury. But I think you just have to have a backup plan. I don't even feel comfortable with it being a rookie, maybe a 3rd round left tackle or something like that. Just don't feel comfortable doing that. However, I think Braxton Jones with better coaching, there's some things that I like about him, but there's also, you saw reps last year where it's like really painful, where it's like he's just getting beat. I think the bull rush is what he really struggles with. Am I right on that? Am I getting that right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is.
And
that's like his weakness.
That's the thing. And I'm just like, he's just got to get stronger, right? I think I'm not an offensive lineman guru at all, but so I'm not even going to try to speak on it. But it's like, have a backup plan, have some really good depth. And I think the Bears have the ability to do that both with free agency and, of course, the draft. So for me, it just depends on how everything falls, right? You get Trey Smith and these chips, right? The people that you bring in, the acquisitions in regards to the players that they're bringing in right now. I think it's just they're going to have to see how everything plays out, right? You don't land Trey Smith, then you have a lot of money to play with, right? So it's like that's where you kind of got to pick and choose where you're going to spend, and both, in the draft and free agency. So I'm fine with Braxton Jones as long as there's a backup plan and a really good backup plan.
Jack, what about you?
Kind of in the same boat, Dave. I agree. I think that if we were to get the backup plan, it goes back to your earlier point, was not that it matters fully, like in terms of how the NFL is aligned. The SEC obviously is the most prominent conference that makes it to the NFL and has successful players. I think that in this situation, if we can get a backup from the SEC or the Big Ten or someone in these big conference games that was like a 3-year start, like someone like that, like someone that we can trust to rely on, because Braxton, I just looked it up, went to Southern Utah. So it's it's one of those picks where Poles looks at him and likes his numbers and the way he does certain things, but then sometimes it's not going to work. Get someone that played at LSU, Alabama, Oklahoma, one of these teams, and I trust them a lot more just based on their work history.
I love it. Sound just like me. I love it.
It's a good point.
Big brains.
Yeah.
Well, it could backfire. It could. You could draft a guy from Alabama. He could be ass. But it's like, for me, I like the floor right now. So
absolutely,
and it just makes me feel a little bit better. Really good. I like that question though. Braxton Jones is so polarizing, but I think what is he? Is he in his fourth year? He's going into his fourth year.
Going into his fourth, yeah.
Going into his fourth or third?
No, he's played 3. He's going into his fourth. Because Darnell Wright's played 2. Darnell Wright's played 2, and Braxton's played 1 more.
It's like Tev. It's like Tev this previous season, where it's like, show me what you can do. Obviously, we have this. I think Tevin's gone, but he had an opportunity to prove himself and really get that deal. Same thing with Braxton. Money's going to be on the mind. He wants to continue to play in the NFL. So for me, could be a motivating factor he's going to be here. So even if you draft somebody, his replacement, and you have him fight it out in camp, right? Have some competition. He wins it. I mean, depending on where you draft this left tackle, if he wins it, you let him start. If not, he's a really, really good, I think a really good depth piece, really good backup. So
for sure. He is middle of the pack. He's middle of the pack tackle, which is good enough to start, and he'd be one of the best depth tackles.
But I mean, you look at KC last year, right? Would you want Braxton Jones in a playoff game against some top tier edge rushers? Exactly. That's where it can almost ruin.
I'll take anyone in a playoff game. That was we made it. No, that's not what you're saying.
It's true. Yeah, right. Anyways, that's a conversation for another day. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Next question. Let's knock them out. We're rolling here. This is easy.
All right. So Jakey Poo said, sorry, that is too funny. Jakey Poo said, why are we cursed? What did we do to the football gods? That is a great question.
Hold on.
I have no idea.
Hold on. I don't even know if we're cursed. I don't know if we're cursed.
We earned this.
No, I don't know. I don't think we're cursed because we've really got lucky with Ryan Poles. Getting back-to-back first-round picks or first overall picks. I'm not saying it's like there's not, some stuff going on, but I feel like we are getting some lucky breaks here. So sure. That's just
Ben Johnson as well.
Johnson.
We're not the Browns. We're not the Browns
last year.
Yeah. We're not the Browns. You know what I mean? There's teams that are definitely the Bears have been bad the past. I think it was like winning percentage the past 10 years. Yeah. The Bears are third from the bottom. So we're not great.
I think it's a low grade curse.
Right, right. There's worse though. You know what I mean? We didn't pay some Mr. Touchy Hands who tore his Achilles twice, and we just don't have a quarterback. And our best defensive end in the NFL wants to trade to a different team. We haven't sniffed the playoffs in years. You see what I'm saying? There's definitely worse. At least we're doing this. It might be slowly, but there's teams that are literally been this middle of the pack going down. So
exactly.
But I get it. I agree. Yeah,
we are shitty. We're not cursed. We're shitty.
For sure. For sure. Jack, do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't know who I'm talking to on this podcast because I think that 6 weeks ago we would have all agreed that we're cursed, and for some reason now all of a sudden we're
Ben Johnson.
New info came in.
You landed Ben Johnson.
He hasn't done anything yet.
We couldn't.
Past, my friend. In the past, I felt very cursed. Like there were demons flying around my head every game. When we first lost to the Packers on the blocked field goal, both of you said I knew he was missing that because of a curse. Yeah. It was not because we were thinking oh man, he's kicking low and he's 5'1".
We are also pretty shitty too. Well,
how do we get Caleb Williams the first overall pick? And it's just the worst fucking year we've ever had. How does that keep happening? Why did we draft Mitch over Mahomes? Why did that happen? We're cursed. It's how it works.
It depends on what you. I think it's like a like you said, a low grade curse.
Question.
If we're gonna do it like a fever, right? We're not 108 laying on the deathbed, right? We're 99.8. It's a fever, but it's just a little hot. That's how we are. There's still 8 teams, guys. 8 teams in the NFL history. It's been on for 100+ years that have never been to a Super Bowl. One of them is the NFC North Lions. The Lions finally got good, lose in their first game, and lose everybody. Tell me as a Lions fan, I'm not even trying to be a Lions apologetic over here. Tell me you would not feel cursed If that was us, we would feel 10 times worse than what we are feeling right now. So yes, we might be cursed. We may be cursed, but I promise you the Lions have had it worse than us. I promise you there's other teams out there. I'm just saying.
I might have some recency bias with Ben Johnson feeling good, landing that. Yeah, you're right, Jack. I think we are cursed, but I think it's slowly started. Like we're doing some things correctly to break this curse. Now we just got to go out there and just, solidify it. Similar to like what the Lions did, right? With their rebuild. Cause like same thing with the Lions. They were a joke, blah, blah, blah. Now look at them. They broke it. They haven't made it to the promised land, but they're respectable and have a future. So anyways, good question. That was fun.
That was a good one. Could be worse is always how I say it. Before we do, because I'll make this super quick, we do got to do a little ad read here. First off, thank you all for joining the BFR Podcast, the #1 show for the fans, by the fans. We really do appreciate it. Jack, Dave, and I are fans just like y'all. So during the offseason, we get hyped. We've gone through the curses just as we've talked about, the highs, the lows, everything in between. So we're just glad that a bunch of fans like y'all joined the #1 show for the fans, by the fans, the BFR Podcast. So we really do appreciate it. And we love the engagement and the comments. If you guys want to support us, you can go to the BFR store as well. You can go on there and you can buy hoodies, hats, everything in between. We're working on updating a lot of stuff. Probably come around draft time, drop some new fire stuff. So stay tuned for that. Also, if you want to support us, you can join our Patreon where we have monthly giveaways on there. We have monthly exclusives like our giveaways, private Zoom calls, mailbag episodes like this for our special Hall of Fame members and Grizzly members. And let me give a shout to them real quick. We do have our Hall of Fame Patreons. And shout out to Phil, because I actually corrected your name on this one, so thanks for hitting us up on that. But shout out Michael from across the pond, Gage. We got Phil in here, Michael Berry Sr. as well. Thank you for being our Hall of Fame Patreon members. And then also for our rookie Grizzlies over here, we got Alex, who I saw in the chat already, Brian, Chris, Jason, and Eston. We appreciate all the love and support. And also all the proceeds that go into the Patreon, into the store, just go back into the show to make it better for y'all. And if you don't support us fiscally on there, that's totally fine. We really appreciate it. We're just glad you're here. But since you're here, please give a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It helps the show grow. We're trying to reach more fans like y'all. We're trying to really build this community, so we really do appreciate that. Now, final thing. We do this every show. If this is your first time here, please leave a hashtag #NewFaceGang in the chat. We'll give you a shout out before the end of the show. I always do the hashtag. If this is not your first time and you've seen 2 episodes or you've seen all 165. Always forget what number we're on. But if you've seen every episode, you're a true OG. Please give a hashtag OG in the chat, and we'll give you a shout out before the end of the show. Whew, surprised.
Absolutely. And real quick, before we get to these, last few questions here, if you want to elevate your Chicago Bears collection with just collectibles, helmets, go ahead and check out Green Gridiron. They are a sponsor of the show. Wouldn't be able to do it without them. Take your fandom to the next level with authentic Chicago Bears helmets and collectibles from Green Gridiron. They are the official sponsor of the BFR podcast. Go ahead, link in the description. We've shown it before. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and DM any of us. Honestly, really, really good stuff. Love the guys over there too. So if you need a mini helmet, life size, authentic, you can customize it. Go ahead and check it out. So shout out to Green Gridiron as well for sponsoring the show. So let's go ahead and knock out a couple more, and then we'll go ahead and see which one you guys want to vote on as far as the best question that was submitted. And again, we'll be doing the Q&A every month. So if you want to get your questions in, get $5-10 from us for just having the best question as far as creativity. And really just depends on Jack and Ficky and who they think is best. So what do we got here, Fick?
So this is from Chris, and I think this is Chris Studios on Twitter. I think he does some fire graphics, I remember. So make sure to check out his work if I'm right on that. If you go to his page, it's not there. Sorry about it. But Chris here says, if you could bring back any former Bears player in their prime to our current team, who would it be? Jack, I'll start with you.
What a loaded question to start me with.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. Am I doing this in terms of how do you guys want to do this? Do you guys want to do this who would
just
I get
pick
today?
a picture, pick a player that would fit this
prime.
roster in their prime. It could be a quarterback. It could be a running back. It could be a returner. We have a good returner.
That's
what I mean. There's too many people. Obviously, I would take Devin Hester. Devin Hester's fucking awesome. Right now, I'll just go for sake of time. Matt Forte, I think, would be so dope in this offense, and that's kind of like our little.
That would be a good one. I know mine though.
Wait, is this any player though?
Anyone in their prime? Any Bears player? Yeah, who's been on the Bears?
Okay. All right.
I know mine.
Ficky, I'll let you go.
Hall of Famer this year. Not Devin
Peppers?
Hester, though. Yes, sir. Give me
That-
Julius Peppers.
no,
We
that'd
need
be
a
dope.
DE2 right now.
Mhm.
And when he was on the Bears, he was still dominant. It may have been like a year past his prime, but he still got his 10 plus sacks in his years on this team. So give me Julius Peppers across from Montez Sweat.
Yeah.
This defense is eating.
This one, I mean, I'm going. I like the running back because I like Swift, but
If you say it,
you get Walter Payton,
I knew.
Oh, my goodness.
dude.
That
Like,
is
I'm just be
cop
honest.
out. That's such a cop
How was it cop out? Any player?
He's like one of
Prime?
the greatest players of all
Peyton?
time. Like, yeah, all right.
Well, no,
Yeah.
but no, that's fair, though. I was going to pick because I was going to
Okay.
pick one of the greatest players on the defensive side. Like Brian Urlacher's a top
Yeah.
3 linebacker. I just couldn't pick him because we already have.
an award after the man. Walter
That's 'cause he
Payton
died.
That's
That's because he died, man. They gave him.
Hey, I'm taking. Sometimes you take those layups.
Yeah, I
Sometimes
mean,
you
these
need to
are
see the
layups,
ball
right?
go through, and this is an easy one.
For
It's more of
sure.
a free throw. It's more of a free throw. No one
For
there.
sure.
No defense.
Underhand. But yeah, I know Walter Payton would be dynamic on this team. I would take that any minute. Any minute. You know what I was also thinking though? Which I think would be crazy. Bye Keenan Allen. Brandon Marshall.
I thought that as well.
Brandon
We
Marshall
have
was
Rome. When
nuts.
are we going to let Rome develop?
No, that's fine. I get you. But
gotta
he's
let
no
that
Brandon.
play.
He's no Brandon Marshall. Look,
Why
love
did
you,
we
Rome.
draft Rome?
Well, they didn't know we were getting Brandon Marshall back.
No,
that
I
was the
know.
problem.
That's true. Yeah. That'd be so fun.
It is crazy though. This team has had a lot of really, I mean, we lead
Talent.
the NFL in Hall of Fame, right? We just never had a good collective team, you know.
Bring
So,
back Cuddy.
please, please.
Damn, that one fell flat. All right, next
Yeah.
question. It was not funny, man.
No,
Y'all
I
are
just
not
said
feeling
no. I
that.
did not want him. Okay, so we got GP Mixed Rice 3 on Twitter said Trey Smith is the big name everybody wants, but how about signing Mekhi Becton? We did talk about this last episode. If you miss out on Trey Smith, and that is
Yeah.
your secondary, it's still an improvement of this offensive line. I'm okay with it. Dave, Jack,
25 years old, Super Bowl champion.
hit a bounce back season. Once he left the Jets, he got better, like most of them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you have to have backup plans. You don't know how everything's going to fall here, especially with Trey Smith being. I mean, he could easily sign back, be franchise tagged, get a deal done with KC. So, Jack.
So speak.
No, keep it quick. I don't care. Just give me any offensive lineman that can block. Sure.
Yeah.
Fair. And speaking of that, there was news today that
Mm-hmm.
that instead of a franchise tag, they're most likely going to transition tag him. And for those who don't know the difference between a franchise tag and a transition tag, franchise tag basically means that the team has all the rights. Like there's no open.
Yeah, there's no discussions. But with the transitional tag, it allows him to negotiate with other teams and offers. Fick, I don't know if you can hear me. You're cutting out, so I think I got that right.
Yeah, we'll keep marching.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll keep marching. Next question. Okay. Braden, big fan of the show. Appreciate you, Braden. The Ben Johnson hire was oh my, they actually did it move. What would be a scenario this offseason to make you go, oh my, I can't believe they actually did it move, either in a positive or negative way? This one's easy for me. It's not even that they did it. It's like another thing that breaks for the Bears is Trey Smith and KC don't work out a deal. They can't get it done. He does hit free agency, and the Bears land him. It's like, are you kidding me right now? That's great. Hey, you look good, Vic. Clear. No more
wow.
Minecraft. This is crazy.
Good. Well,
No.
also while I was deep diving explaining the difference between two things, my computer just whatever.
This looks
You
better.
carried it. They're good.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So basically, I said the transitional tag is it allows them to negotiate with other teams.
Correct. And
Franchise
Casey
tag,
has
you have none of that.
Yep, and Casey has the right to match as well.
Kind of match. It's similar to like the NBA, right?
Yeah.
What is that deal?
Unrestricted
contract.
for what is theirs? This is way more.
It happened with Zach LaVine last year in Chicago.
Right.
Or
Yep.
2 years ago when they did it. Anyways, the next question was what would be Ben Johnson was like an oh my, they actually did it move. What would be another one that the Bears did this offseason, whether it's a good or negative way or positive or negative way? For me, I said Trey Smith because like things have to go right for them to actually be able to make an offer for him, like KC, and then has to fall through. He actually has to hit free agency and the Bears sign him. It would be like, okay, what is happening this offseason? Like everything is lining up for him. So that would be my pick. That's an easy one. Another cop out, another little layup here. Jack, Vicky.
Mine would. I don't know if maybe I'm misinterpreting. I'm just thinking like my brain is like, holy shit, they did it, because that's kind of what this asked. Mine would be Micah. If we land Micah, I would be like, oh my god,
that's a good one.
They made a great push. Like we are going soupy or bust here. That's mine.
Soupy. Mine is going to be something that is not a great answer for the viewers, but it's going to be a trade that nobody saw. So think Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack was never on our radar. We woke up a Saturday morning. At least I did. I remember. And I woke up to a text at 7 a.m. that said Khalil Mack is on the Bears. I'm like, yo, what the fuck, right? Something like that is
okay.
And that could happen.
I like
that's probably more likely to happen than the Micah one, because anytime we're actually tied to someone.
I want to see Khalil Mack. I want to see Mack back in Chicago. I don't think it's going to happen just because I don't think he wants to come back, but I would love that. That would be a pretty fun deal or move. You said soupy. That reminds me of like when my wife calls Starbucks Starbies. You call it the Super Bowl soupy. That cracks me up, dude. I love it though. Now I can't help but say it. Anyways, that's off topic. How many more we got?
We got 5.
Oh, we can get those.
Okay, knock them out quick.
Yeah, we're actually going pretty well. This might be a record for us. We got Andrew 3 times on Twitter said, nice Avi as well with the 3 there with MJ. Thoughts on trading up for Mason Graham? I'll be quick. Absolutely. His statistics, his when you look at like his grading out as a defensive tackle in like the past 3 drafts, he beats everybody. Like he's one of the, and there were some good defensive tackles.
Did they say trading up for him?
Yeah.
Because he's top 5 probably.
Probably. What you would need is for Shador or Cam, because we don't know who's going to go first, not to fall to 7 to the Raiders. You would need Cam to go 1 or Shador to go 1, and then the Titans trade out or the Titans make the pick, and then you would need a second team to then trade up to 2, right, to then steal another quarterback, and then that would then put Mason now from like being 5 to 7 and going from 10 to 7, right, or 10 to 8 or 10 to 6, much more reasonable than going 10 to 5, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would do it. Just it has to be I don't know. Like it's just like
he's dominant, man.
I hate giving up draft capital right now. I just don't know why. I want to build through the draft and giving it away, like because you go from 10 to 5 or 10 to 7, you're still giving up. You're giving up, some premium capital, in my opinion. So I would be okay with it. It just really depends on every other move, including free agency. So.
Yeah, my thought is there's too much talent in this draft especially at 10. I don't see a need to throw away assets for a player slightly better or more promising.
Cool.
So based off of real quick, just to give context here. So based off of like the NFL draft trade value chart that most of the NFL uses, right? Pick 5 is worth 1,700 points. Pick 10 is worth 1,300 points. So the difference in those picks are only 400 points. 400 points equates to a mid-second round pick, right? So pick 40 is valued at 500.
I just don't want to give up a second.
Yeah.
Right. That's fair.
Weird.
But also a late second, there's also seen the late second, pick 50 is also worth 400, right? So we're 400 different. So really, in essence, to go from 10 to 5, you would have to move a late second.
But I need for me, if I'm moving up, it has to be a superstar type.
I'm telling you right now, he has the.
Is he Jalen Carter? Is he a Jalen Carter type player?
He scored better than Jalen. They have him
because for me, Jalen was like, okay, I was like, we can move up a couple picks here and land him if he slips. That's how high I was on Carter. I don't know. I would love it either way. I mean, it's fine. The Bears have the ability to do it. They have the capital. But for me, it's like I would rather have like a Roma Dunze situation where it just falls to you, or even Carter a couple years ago. And I know that's not going to happen, but anyways.
Yeah, so it's. I would say he's definitely worth it, but of course we don't like giving up a.
No, you never like giving up capital.
But it might be worth it. Might be worth it. I'd have to see. We'd have to see what we give up. If it's a fair value, I'm okay with it. Okay, next one here. Jordan Origal, hopefully I said that right, on Twitter, said, assuming Saints cut Taysom, is he worth looking at? You know what? No. I saw this one when I was putting it together at first, and I was like, no, I don't really care, right? No. And then I thought, you know what, though? A gadget player. Who would work well with a gadget player? I'm not saying go get Taysom Hill. But if there's one offensive coordinator in the NFL who would utilize the hell out of that player,
this is
it
where
would be Ben Johnson.
This is where I'm like, you know how I love Tory Taylor. I keep bringing it up. It's like, can the Bears afford to use money on a Taysom Hill? Like, I know we're 5th in cap, so he's like, but that can go away real quick. Taysom's not going to be cheap, in my opinion. Like, he's not going to be crazy expensive, but he's going to be what, $10 million for 2 years, probably.
Yeah, I mean, what is he? 34 now? I mean, he's pretty old.
I have no idea.
Right?
Maybe he's not as expensive as I thought, but and also I don't want to take anything away from Cole Kmet because he's a tight end too, typically as well. It's kind of like a running back, kind of. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm getting Grinch. I'm kind of like.
No, I get it. It's not like it's not on the top of our list, but
interesting question.
It would be interesting.
Watch us sign Taysom Hill. I'm gonna have to get excited. I'm gonna have to figure out a way.
He'd be a $10 million man right now for this year.
Am I not? Oh my God.
It's pretty good.
Just know money. I know money. NFL money.
Right now, because he's still under contract, right? It was like 4 years, 40 million or something like that.
Yeah, he has a lot of dead money. A lot of dead cap.
Anyways, good question. Next question.
Gray Zabel in the 2nd or 3rd round be a home run. First off, who is Gray Zabel? I feel like I should know who that is. Am I tripping?
So he's North Dakota State, 6'6". He's 26th best draft prospect. He's a tackle. He's the PFF 20. He's ranked 26th on the PFF big board.
I mean, it's not.
Was
bad.
that 2nd or 3rd? Did he say 2nd or 3rd round? What was that?
Yeah,
question?
if you're 2nd or 3rd, then you're already getting him above value.
Absolutely. He is not. He may be 2nd round, but I don't know if he gets to 3rd. I wish we could look up. Infante would know.
He would.
But
I'm actually looking up. I think
January football name. I didn't like that. Didn't roll off the tongue.
We're going off
that one bit. That's not a football name.
But hey, Gray Zabel sounds like WWE.
It does.
6'6", 305. He's only 22 years old though. He graded out. He was the 5th best tackle in the nation last year. He had a PFF grade of 90.4. He's a senior. Yeah, I mean, North Dakota State. Shout out to Trey Lance. Not Trey Lance. Is that Trey Lance?
Yeah, it is.
Is it school? Yeah.
I think so.
I would be 100%. You get him in the 3rd. Oh my God, we're gonna be celebrating. But that ain't happening. There's no way. Oh,
sorry.
What did you say? Oh, yeah.
But it won't because in Daniel Jeremiah's most recent mock. What happened?
Oh, we can't say it. There's a comment from Phil.
The comment. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I see it now. My bad.
I didn't even want to know how. Maybe I'm missing something here.
Yeah, we're missing.
I don't even want to know.
Well, it is the Big F and Rod podcast. So, great. Zabel is in Daniel Jeremiah of NFL. His most recent mock that he dropped today is 2.0. He has him going 18th to Seattle. So he's already prospected as a 1st rounder. So no way we get him in the 2nd or 3rd. I mean, players fall, but 3rd, not happening.
Maybe trade up from that 2nd. Anyways, okay. Next question. Good question though. I like that one. That was a good.
Oh, we got Anthony Thompson here with a paragraph. Let me make sure I read this correctly. Actually, this might be one question. Okay. Draft Ashton Genty or trade back at 10. Provided, right, here's the context, provided that Mason Graham, Will Campbell, Abdul Carter, James Pierce Jr., and other top draft picks are gone. I'm thinking trade back, running back heavy class is stacked. We need trench help bad. Okay, sorry, that was my last question. Your post-game pods are great, by the way. Just started listening to them last year. Well, thank you so much, Anthony. I know you sent in 2 of them, so we appreciate the kind words. Yeah. So to reiterate the question, trade back to Ashton Genty if none of those, like all those guys that we want, right? Basically, all the trenches are gone at 10, like the top dogs.
Yeah. Trade back. Yeah.
Jack, I think you already. Yeah, I agree. If all those, I know you say Kelvin Banks, but if Kelvin Banks is gone too, yeah, we better. And not,
I like if it is a stacked running back class. So as much fun as Gentry, it'd be headliner. It'd be like Rome almost, but yeah. Anyways, appreciate the love in the post game. I miss our post game pods. I do. Even though they're kind of shitty sometimes with the outcomes.
No, they were shitty the back 10. The last 10 were kind of ass after that Hail Mary. So. All right, last one.
Ooh.
All right, the Bears burner. I love it. I love the Abby as well. So the Bears burner 1 on Twitter said, how will the fan base react if the Bears have a losing record this upcoming season? I just want to stop. This is, oh my God.
Do they have patience?
Will they have the patience to wait another season, or are we going to be screaming fire Ben after a disappointing year 1? Hot take. Go ahead and clip me right now. If the Bears have a shitty season this year and it's a losing record season, I am not going to be on the fire Ben train. I sold myself on 1 year of Matt Eberflus, and I sold myself on a year, well, Matt Nagy's first year, but a year after that, like selling myself on hope. So there's no way I'm going to jump off the Ben Johnson train after 1 year if I decided to give a longer leeway for those coaches.
We have a bad season. It's going to be bad. And because the only reason we have a bad season is if Caleb regresses even more and just is not the guy. Injury. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say, but yeah, injury. But injury, I can be like, I'll survive. It would suck. It would be terrible. However, that's if he's healthy, plays every single game. It's because Caleb's not the guy, in my opinion. So
right,
unless Ben's not the guy, but it's more,
Caleb, well, not off. I'm saying I'm more likely to be off the Caleb trigger. There's 2 years of data versus the 1 year of Ben. Yeah. Jack, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. If we had a losing season, I wouldn't be able to yell anything because I'd be dead. I would be dead. I would probably be leading protests at Hallis Hall.
What order? Is that how you're dying?
I lead first. I want the message to get out. Okay. I'd lead protests first. I'm talking. We have signs. We have like an army kind of. Like we beat him by numbers. I'm gonna get Phil in there with me too. I think Phil would be a really good right hand guy.
Oh, Phil would be nuts.
Yeah, he'd be great
for sure.
All in all, seriously though, if we do have a losing season, I will be the worst.
Phil will be crawling through the vents at Hallis Hall, just getting.
I don't know if I'd be a Bears fan. I don't know if I'd be on the pod anymore.
Oh no.
I don't know. I don't think I would.
I feel the same way, man. Now. I go through another shitty season with all this hype. I don't know if I could publicly talk about the Bears. I would probably still watch secretly, but I don't know if I could publicly even tweet or I'd just be like, man, I'd just be really just lost.
It would be very hard to sell yourself on any sort of hope throughout the rest of your life because you already did it once last year and you're like, holy shit, like that
every year. Yeah, every year my wife's like, why can't you just pick another team? And I'm like, it's just not how it works. Like it's not how it works. If that's how it worked, I'd be a Chiefs fan. I would have been a Patriots fan. I would have, but it's not. It's just not. But it's like every year, family member, why do you put yourself through this? So I'm like, this year there has to be some type of, and we saw a glimpse at 4-2, and it was great. It was weird.
Jaden Daniels, you bitch.
Well, no. Don't be mad at Jaden. Be mad at Tyreek.
Oh no, I love it. Jaden Daniels, you bitch.
God, I hate him. I hate you.
Jack, man, I love you, man. That's so funny.
That's crazy. Jaden's just mind his business trying to win some games while Tyreek's over here taunting the crowd.
It was the point for me and the stare because it was like my soul felt that one, Jack.
We're so sorry, Jaden. We know you're a big fan of the BFR podcast.
No, obviously, Jack's not apologizing.
I won't apologize for shit ever. I hate him. He couldn't even make the throw, and we don't. He made this season a little shit, like a lot shittier because of how well they played. So
can we be real though? At least he isn't like Patrick Mahomes type of like arrogant. That'd be even worse. I'm like, imagine when it was the Mitch Trubisky, Patrick Mahomes, like every touchdown, Patrick would go like 6 because he got picked 6 picks after Mitch or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, we get it. Like
I so disagree, dude. I hate that.
No, it could be coming though.
He's just so.
He may do it. Like if Caleb is shit and he has another great year and we play him like in year 3 and he just is like, okay, I remember this. Caleb's not on the team. Oh, we play him again? I can see it. I can see it. He may even do like the discount, like,
no, don't pull out the double check.
I swear to God.
That's not even the right team. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Anyways, we got through them all.
We did.
Best question, Ficky, Jack. Let's knock this out. We got to get out of here. We're going on an hour and a half, man. This is like a
movie,
super show.
I don't remember them all.
So I'll start with
Soupy.
mine. I have 2 nominees.
Okay.
Nominee number 1 is the hypothetical. If we could bring back any Bears fan. Dave kind of ruined the question for me, though. I ruined everybody. So mine are
that one.
I have $5, unfortunately. That's on Dave. The second one I liked was why are we cursed? I love that question.
Okay.
My winner of the 2025 February 18th Q&A $5 show is the alumni question. Loved it. It was fun to think about. Matt Forte.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go after Dave.
No, you go. I'm not in this. I'm not in this.
Okay.
I can't. Yeah, I can't bias. And I'm only doing one, so you guys got to agree.
Oh no, I think that's it. I think it's the
doing?
alumni. That was
Moneybags
fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, right?
Hand them out. You get $5.
Hand them out.
You get $5. No, we got.
All right, we're not.
Who did that one? I'm trying to find
is
it.
not for broke. That is for
tell
sure.
you,
The B and BFR is not for broke.
Be for real.
It was right here, Chris.
Chris Core. Oh hell yeah,
Chris
I like
Studios.
Chris, and you are right. Yes,
He does do the graphic design, doesn't he? Not on Twitter. Am I tripping?
Yeah, he does. You're right.
I feel like I've seen him do some fire
Yep,
stuff.
he does. He does a lot of fire stuff. All right, Chris. I'm reaching out to you right now on Twitter. Just hit you in the DMs, man. Let's get your Venmo. Good job. Appreciate the questions, everybody. We're doing this again. Maybe we'll up it to $10. We'll see.
Watch out.
Yeah, it's getting a little crazy.
$200.
It's getting a little crazy.
The BFR stand for big fucking revenue over here, so watch out, folks. So
awesome. Let's shout out our OGs here, and we'll hit the road.
let's do it. Okay, we got Tito. First off, thank you for the $10 super chat. Really appreciate that. And hashtag OG. Fella here going, wow, I love it. Hashtag OG. All my homies fuck with Jetty. Absolutely. I love the meme. Yeah, you're not wrong. So, and then we got Kyler in here, Kyler Villagomez on YouTube with the hashtag OG. Short one today, but a super long episode. So totally get it. Appreciate y'all bearing, no pun intended or intended, throughout it all, and dealing with my Roblox video quality for the last or Minecraft video quality for like half of that. So
no, very fun show. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back later in the week. We got 2 episodes for you this week, so we'll be back. Bear down.
Peace.
peace.
Oh man.